The Black Bigelow, man. I just want to give a special shout out to you, my boy. Thank you for making that video, man. It was a mighty kind gesture. I sincerely appreciate you, doing that, man. Thank you, man. And as far as collaborating with you, man, and getting you on the call with Powder, man, we can most definitely do that, man. I don't see why that would be a problem. I'll bring it up to his attention, and hopefully we can work something out, man. Most definitely, man. So anybody out there, please go check out the homie at the Black Bigelow, man. Hit that subscribe for him and show some love.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, what's crazy. Here's what's crazy to me is, there's a lot of people on this channel telling a lot of stories, and giving like really, really in-depth perspective on, the Mexican Mafia, Aryan Brotherhood, all these prison gangs, street gangs, and stuff like that, right? And so I decided to do like my personal story, my personal experience as a P9 member, and how I came up in the ranks, and people criticize, right? So people try to criticize and say, hey, this is false, this is this, or this is that, right? Well, here's the thing. For me, I just landed in the right spots, the right time in the state of California, and I just happened to land, like, with all these important people, super important people. I'm talking big dogs, right? So all these people, before you meet them, you're looking at them like they're legends, like they're not even real people. That's the way I perceived it. And then you actually meet these people, and then you're either going to be disappointed or you're going to feel the presence of like a real made man in California. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, a made man is someone who has the reach and the power to do whatever the hell they want, bro. If you live in Cali and you disrespect somebody in New York, they got to reach homie to dust you in New York. That's the power of a made man, period. And they take their oaths and they do these things to become a made man. And for the Aryan Brotherhood, you got to earn that shamrock, and the only way to earn it is murder, bro. For the Aryan Brotherhood. So after I got hit in Calipatria, I got transferred over to Centinela State Prison. Centinela State Prison is just another desert prison out there in like cartel country. It's all like right there by the border in Mexico, so it's just nothing but desert. And anybody who has like done research out in that area, Cathedral City, Indio, Imperial, Mexicali, all those places down there, that's cartel country. Now check this out. So, back in the days, the Mexican Mafia was on the main line, bro. Huh? What time is it right now? All right, all right. So, this fucking dude, God. So, they used to operate on the main lines a certain way. Then these dudes get validated for 20 years, 30 plus years, whatever the case may be, and they're gone. Essentially, they're, in a coffin or frozen for 20, 30 years, and they pop back out, and now they're on the freaking main lines. And in Centinela on Sea Yard, 11 Mexican Mafia members were on that yard when I was there. And I landed in 4 block. I landed in C4 with Joker from Hazard, bro. Big Hazard, bro. Joker from Hazard, he got made Mexican Mafia by shooting one of those dudes from American Meat. When they made that movie American Meat, Joker from Hazard got his initiation by dusting one of those dudes. I'm not sure the one he actually killed, but that's how he became a made man. He's famous. In each block, so there's 5 blocks on the 270. Each block is ran completely different. Each made man has their own rules, their own regulations. I mean, it's a whole separate world from 1 block to 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 block. Now, trip, this is something that I experienced. This is when I really, really understood the power that the Mexican Mafia really, really had, bro. I'm in opposition. I mean, we're allies, bro, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, we're oppositions, you know what I mean? But you don't really get to see the actual, like, how would I explain this? You don't get to see the actual power that they have in the things that they anticipate and have lined up just in case moments. Like this cop decides, hey, he wants to go search Joker from Hazard's cell. They already preempt and have this, prepared beforehand. So it's already just like a quick whistle. Okay, the cop decides he's going to go search Joker's cell. A quick whistle, boom. They're there. So this is a true story. This is what happened. So I'm there in 4 block, and I'm chilling in the day room. and I'm trying to, learn as much as I can. I'm watching these dudes because I've never had been on a yard with real Mexican Mafia members, bro, and this is really how they did it. They all had their individual entourage. Dude, it was crazy. Okay, they all had their own entourage, and they all had their right-hand man, and you can identify their right-hand man by that he's the one with the knife because they have a certain bandana they keep on their shoulder, super creased, and that's how they identify their right-hand man. And then they had something called a senor hat in Centinela. A senor hat in any one of these like vendor companies, you could buy a straw hat. It's a straw like kind of cowboy hat. It's a certain one that's considered a senor hat. Only a made man was allowed to wear these hats. So if you've seen somebody wearing those hats, 100%. That's a made man. And they're not walking anywhere without their right-hand man and their whole entire entourage. You can't go up and shake Joker's hand. You can't go up and shake none of their freaking hands without going through a gauntlet of people, sureños, straight gangsters. And I'm talking real, real serious. And they're even more serious when they're around these dudes because they want to shine. So as I was saying, and you get to actually experience these dudes' power. Like, people think they think they have an understanding of like the real deal, like really what's cracking on these prison yards. Look, I thought my gang, bro, I thought PDS was like real, top dog, elite type of thing until I seen some things with my own eyes, okay? So, one block in Centinela, I believe it was Danny Boy from Hazard. Danny Boy from Hazard was running this block, and there's a thing called red flag. If you're in debt, you can't pay your bills, the race will automatically put you on a red flag list, which means you are not allowed to touch any type of narcotics. You're not allowed to look for it, and you're not allowed to have paraphernalia. You're not allowed to do nothing. You're completely cut off from drugs or anything associated to it. It's called red flag. And what this man would do, anybody who was on a red flag list, he would put them in lower A section of the building. Cell 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and he would come around, he'd put red tape on each door, on each individual door, red tape, bing, bing, bing. And that is and the actual objective to that is, and the point is to make these people so embarrassed because you're completely on blast with the cops, you're completely on blast with the other races, like they know that you're pretty much a scumbag. It's like a scumbag list. That's another way to label that. And so these people, that's how he would do. And each individual inmate member ran things differently. Joker from Hazard, that dude was like known as the coolest one. He didn't wear like none of the senor hats. He wore a baseball hat. He played sports, and he interacted, bro. He interacted with the youngsters. These, and then they had Playboy from King Cobras. He was in the 5 block. That dude was the Mac rep of the yard, and he was really, really like up in everything. Like he was all across the yard. He was doing all these little classes, facilitating, and he was the man. And my visual of a made man is exactly what this dude looked like. I mean, he just looked really, really serious. And all these dudes were like super little dudes. You could tell they were like still like stuck back in the 80s. Or whatever, because they would wear their long socks and the little short shorts. But these dudes, man, are something else. So one day I'm sitting in the day room. And there's not a lot of whites on this yard. It's predominantly Hispanics, and I share the day room with the Hispanics. So I'm kicking it in day room, and all of a sudden, one of the porters, Hispanic sureño, comes over, and he gives this little distinct whistle. A little distinct whistle that really, really caught my attention. Every single sureño, I'm talking the exact moment he did that, every single sureño hung up the phone, boom. All of them took off running as fast as they could all the way to the other side of the building, to C-section. In C-section, it starts at 134, 135, 136, and they were running and getting slid big-ass knives, big old knives under the door, and they get them. It's already planned out. It was preempted. This was crazy. I got like 2 minutes. It was preempted. So and I'm like, what is really going on? Like, what is this all about? So I ran over there because I'm curious. I want to know what all this is about. This dude just whistled, and every single sureño just ran over there in a sprint, and they're getting past knives. And I get over there, and I look up there, and there's 2 cops getting ready. They're walking up the stairs to cell 250. Joker from Hazard lived in cell 250, all the way in the corner, and they're walking slow up the staircase. So they're heading up the stairs to cell 250 where Joker lives. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no way are these dudes really actually going up there. And the two cops that were going up there, they were completely oblivious to their surroundings. And you can see as I'm sitting there, I'm watching like everything go on, and I'm looking at the gunner, and I'm looking at these dudes. So what happened was the person who did the whistle ran back upstairs and cut the cops off at the top of the staircase. At the top of the staircase, they did not notice that. And then below them, at the very bottom of the staircase, was about 40, 45 strapped up sureños. Bro, I mean, this was an experience, man, I had never seen in prison. I've seen so much stuff in prison, but I had never seen nothing quite like this. And I was in awe, bro, watching this. So I'm just sitting there observing. And so this dude cuts him off at the top of the staircase. The gunner in the tower is literally like trying to get the fucking cops' attention to tell them like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's trying to get his partner's attention to get them to stop walking up the stairs. They're still going. They're climbing. They're getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And next thing you know, they finally catch on and they look around and they were like, oh my God. Oh my God. And they looked around and they noticed that they were really, really, really in a serious, serious situation. And the situation was this. That porter literally told the floor cops, they said, check this out, man, this cell does not get searched, period. Period. That's what they told him. So that dude Joker from Hazard knew he could sit in his cell 250, and just sit there and do whatever he wanted, knowing 100% that his little army had his back. They were not, no matter what, they were not going to let these cops open that door and catch this man slipping. I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, what the hell? Did this really just happen? Well, that if you actually just like take a little moment to sit there and actually think about that and process it, this man, one individual.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Just on reputation, just on being a Mexican mafia member, is sitting in his cell in prison, and the cops can't even touch him. These dudes were too scared to do anything. 100%. I've seen them. And I'm going to tell you like this, okay? Like I was saying, whenever there's, made men, then the dudes, they want to impress these guys. They want to look the hardest. They want to look the coolest. They want to be the right-hand man, period. And never have I ever been anywhere, nor has it ever been heard of when we all got out of the shoe, where there's 11 on the same yard. 11. Well, 11 made men on the same yard can cause a lot of stuff, but it also creates a lot of stuff, man. And they had it cracking right there. I mean, they're doing drone drops. These men are operating at a high-tech level. They ain't doing nothing where they're trying to crack free staff or nothing, bro. They're operating drones, bro. Fly a drone, boom, drop it. That's what's up. So anyway, I'm sitting there, right, and I'm watching their daily functions. And I used to talk to this dude, Joker, personally. And, you always wonder how these made men really talk, right? Like, hey, man, how does this dude talk? Is he super serious? Does he laugh? What does he do? What does he like, bro? And I'll be 100%, man. That dude was one of the coolest guys I had ever talked to. Okay, now, I ended up getting removed in Centinela behind the wall in computer class. And there was a man named Sleepy. He's one of the main Mexican mafia members, bro. He is one of the head honchos. I know this 100%. He was the final say-so on that yard, okay? He was the final say-so, and he used to be in auto mechanics. He would work in auto mechanics, which was right next to my computer class, right next to it. And when these dudes were looking for weapon stock to stab me, thank God I had, really, really strong ties with a lot of these sureños when I was in the shoe, and I built these really, really healthy relationships. Sleepy ordered them not to assist none of the whites to get weapon stock to stab me. And I was like forever grateful, man. I was like forever grateful because they didn't have to do that. And that just showed, that the Sleepy really empathized. But here's the thing. This is what I was observing, bro. Everybody, the Mexican mafia, that's the most notorious gang, bro. I talked about the AB, whatever, bro. But when you're talking about the inmate, homie, like you're talking about some real stuff. Like literally, you're not even supposed to say that word out loud like that or loosely. You know what I mean? It's a very, very, very serious thing. And the very first Mexican mafia member I met was a dude named Wetto Green from Verdugo. When I was in Tehachapi, when this dude was rolling up, bro, it was like a celebrity was rolling up, man. I mean, it was crazy. The cops it was like 8 cops escorting him, and he had a big old black hand that covered his entire throat. And I was like, wow, okay, this is hard. That dude ended up getting murdered. But anyhow, so in Centinela, how do these dudes operate with 11 on the same yard? So as I'm sitting there, they had their own individual entourage. Because, dude, these dudes are just protected. And all they got to do is say, hey, get that dude. And they're going to do it, bro. And they're going to go with their hardest. They're going to do whatever they can to the best of their ability to shine, 100%. So every single day that they had yard, every single day, it never failed. Not one time did it fail. They would have their little meetings at the center fence. At the center fence on a 270, they have a fence that's split. So you have 4 and 5 block on the one side of the fence, and you got 1, 2, and 3 on the other side of the fence. So some of them were on one side and some of them were on the other. Playboy and Joker, they were on the 4 and 5. But there was other Mexican Mafia members. So when you see them on the yard, they're strolling around the yard, dude, with like 10, 11 sureños circling them, surrounding them. Serious, bro. Like, I'm talking super, super serious. And it was crazy because one time I wanted to talk to Joker, and I wasn't allowed to. I was like, excuse me, Joker. And, bro, these dudes just, like, popped up like, hey, bro, like, what's up, man? Like, they were overdoing it. Like, bro, I wasn't creating no harm. I wasn't causing anything. But that's how serious they are about protecting these made men. So you would see these dudes with their senor hats. Boom. 10, 11 dudes surrounding them, bro. And then they go do their little meetings at the middle fence. And I was always, like, sitting there. I'd be sitting there wondering, like, damn, if I was a fly on the wall, I wonder what these dudes are talking about. But they're discussing Mexican Mafia business, bro. You know what I'm saying? And whatever they do. And that's as serious as it gets. And you would see these dudes. You would see this little dude, Playboy, really, really short, and he would always be doing most of the talking. So I sat there and I wondered, I wonder what their structure is. I wasn't a sureño, so I didn't really know their structure or how they really do it, but I was familiar. I studied them, you know what I mean? So I knew a little bit about them, and you could tell that dude's voice was heard. Playboy from King Cobra, bro, that dude was a little crazy dude, bro, and I talked to him several times, and my very first conversation with this dude was at a table, and I was waiting to go on the block, and it was just me, him, and his right-hand man. I didn't even know it was his right-hand man at the time. I had no idea. We played basketball together, and so the basketball game was over, and now I'm getting familiar with them, and that's what was up. So as we're getting familiar, he says, hey, man, you were in Pelican Bay? And I said, yeah, bro, I was in Pelican Bay. And he said, you were on the seaside, weren't you? I said, yes, sir, I was. He said, yeah, man, I remember one of the ABs were trying to move you over. And I remember that specifically, too, because Rob Johnson from the AB was trying to pull me over into one of the pods where Playboy was housed at. So he had already knew about me. He already, they have cell phones. They're in touch. And they already knew I was in trouble. So as he's talking to me, he knows that I'm pretty much being targeted. He knows I'm about to be a dead man, and he knows what time it is. And here I am talking to this man. And he asked me, he said, where did you just come from? Now he's asking me to be honest with him about what's going on. And I tell him, I said, look, bro, I just came from Calipatria, bro. I just got removed. And he said, oh, really? I said, yes, man. I said, look, I got to know it with Travis. And he goes, really? And that was it. That was all that was said by him. So there was a particular person named Beast from Victoria, a.k.a. Victorville Victoria, okay? This neighborhood, when I was there, man, they were catching the blues, bro. They were catching the blues. I mean, I'm not even sure the exact details of why these dudes were in trouble, but I used to talk to this dude, Beast. He's one of the sureños that actually protected me from getting stabbed in computer class. He saved me as much as he possibly could by not giving them weapon stock or anything like that. So I was always really, really appreciative. So I used to talk to this dude, Beast, and he's revealing information to me that he probably shouldn't as a Southerner. They're really, really discreet about them. I think gossiping is like a big no-no in their race. And as I'm sitting here talking to this dude, he says, Powder, I'm going to confide in you. And I said, what's up, man? He goes, my neighborhood is green lighted, bro. I said, what? I said, bro, that's crazy because when I was in Calipatria, somebody from Victoria had just got murdered, bro. When I was in Calipat, 2 dudes from Victoria had got blasted in Calipat. And I heard, I'm not sure the details, so I'm not even going to try to put anybody under false impressions, but something happened to where it was on the streets. It was street-related, and it fell its way into prison, and they hadn't cleaned it up, so they green-lighted them. Now they're being targeted on a Mexican, and he was telling me, I said, man, this is crazy, man. There's 11 Mexican mafias. He says he's so paranoid. Because you don't know what these men are capable of. I mean, you know what they're capable of, but you don't know what they're going to do with you. And this is Centinela. So, you're sitting here, and I was only there for about a month. And that was enough time for me to actually experience what I got to experience. Psycho from Hazard, George from Venice. I can't remember all the ones that were there, but I know this was all the main ones. And it was just a real trip to watch that. Now, Joker from Hazard, okay? If you were going to play sports with these dudes, I'm another race. So off the top, they're going to have dudes on the sidelines of the basketball court protecting them. And I wasn't allowed to guard Joker. I wasn't allowed to guard any inmate member. It's rules. Like, no one is allowed to even get near them. And this was crazy. This was 100% accurate. This is 100% accurate truth. This is what was kind of disturbing to me, okay? These dudes are also considered bullies, and, they don't treat their own race very well at times. So when I used to play ball with these dudes are not very good, bro. They're super short. They're not very athletic or coordinated or anything of that nature. And these dudes are letting them win. They're letting them score.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Not only that, it's like they have a couple cheerleaders that are a part of their arsenal to like kind of root them on. And it's crazy. It's one of the craziest things that I had ever seen. So if, like, let's say Joker wants to do a layup, they give him the open lane and he dribbles up and they just let him have it and they start clapping for him. Oh, you're so good, Joker. You're so awesome, and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, wow, bro. And if they backtalk him, or if they do guard him, let's say if a man did SWAT, dude, he will open hand slap him.
So I literally watched this dude, Playboy, as a matter of fact. Actually, I'm trying to think of the dude's name. Oh, his name was Shady. He was a yard crew, and this dude was half African American and half Hispanic. So off the top, dude, this dude is like having acceptance issues off the top, bro, because he's mixed, bro, and these Sureños are really prideful, brown pride, bro. Like, they're really prideful, but they do accept, half blacks or blacks or whatever to run with them as long as they're from the neighborhood. So this dude Shady, like, he had been on that yard for a while. So to me personally, I was like, bro, he knows better than this. Like, he knows better than what's about to happen. I would imagine so. He's not, you know what I'm saying? If you're on a yard with the Mexican Mafia, you're laced up. They're telling you the rules so that you don't break them. And I'm pretty for sure they're serious rules. I'm pretty for sure this was one of the rules. You're not allowed to do this. So this dude Shady was assigned to guard this dude Playboy. And I'm on the opposite team of Playboy. I'm actually on Shady's team. So we're competing. And he does not give him the lane. Shady does not give him the lane, and he's playing defense on him, and he's embarrassing him. And I was already anticipating it. I was already just like watching this, and I'm like, oh no, dude, like, bro, I'm not even his race, and I'm about to tell him, bro, like, Shady, stop doing that. Like, back up, bro. Let this man score. But he didn't, and I was like, all right, whatever, bro. It is what it is, So he went to go do a layup, and he just open hand swatted Playboy's basketball. I mean, he swatted him so hard it went to the sidelines, out of bounds. And I was just like, oh no. And Playboy was so embarrassed. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even believe that this was actually happening. Like, that was a good play. He did what he was supposed to do. But since he embarrassed a made man, this dude was pissed. So he turns around, bro. Open hand slaps this dude Shady, bro. 100% open hand slaps him and calls him a bitch and tells him to never do that again. And like 3 of his homies, 3 of his arsenal, dude, his entourage, just straight rolled right up on the court, surrounded that dude Shady. They made him stop playing basketball. They fired him. He was not allowed to play basketball on that yard ever again, dude.
That's how serious it is, dude, to freaking embarrass a made man. Like, that was crazy. Like, I never knew that. I would have never known that had I not, participated in this and actually be involved in this firsthand. This is firsthand stuff of these guys. Like, so, all these crazy things and all these weird things, this is another, aspect of their lives and how they function. And this dude was so embarrassed. He did not like it. So if you think about it, this man was expecting this guy to just give him the land. Like, so really, they're not even really competing, and that doesn't really prove anything in my mind and in my eyes, and I just couldn't believe that this was actually happening, but it did. And, so that dude Shady was, like, restricted. He ended up getting disciplined, scolded. I mean, the whole work just for swatting a basketball. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a little story, man. There is a little story of how it was in Centinela. It's a lot better, and it can get more in depth. Maybe I'll do a little segment on some other stuff. But that's how it was, man. That's a little perspective, my Powder's perspective and what I experienced. Centinela Sea Yard, 2018.